Hi, this is Alison from Freddie Loves Crochet, and today I'm bringing you a tutorial of how to make this gorgeous foxglove flower, crochet foxglove flower. You're going to need two colours of yarn, so your flower colour and your green. You're going to need a wooden garden stake, or it's like a support. You can buy them in garden centres and places like that, or online. Some floristry wire and some floristry tape. A little bit of acrylic paint to go over the inside of our flowers as well. Wouldn't just give it that final finish. So I'm going to show you how to work this flower from start to end. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so these are all the components within the foxglove that we need to make. We've got the big flower and the big set of leaves, the medium-sized flower and the medium leaf set of 3 leaves, the little flower which is more like a bud, and then we've got leaves. It's up to you how many you decide to do. I would say about 8 of each one of these 3. And then probably 8 to 10 flowers, leaves, but it depends on how you want, how like bulky or big you want your foxglove to be. So I'm just going to move those to the side, and we are going to start with the sort of large of the 3, the largest of the 3 flowers. So we need a magic circle, or you can chain 4 and join if you find that easier. I'm going to use US terms, but I will also reference the UK as well. So I've done a magic circle and I've chained 2, and we're going to be primarily working with double crochets in the US, which is a treble crochet in the UK. So into your circle, you need to make 8 double crochets. And the original chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then once you have completed that, pull your magic circle closed if you've used that method, and then just do a slip stitch to the top of that very first double crochet that you did and join that together. Split the yarn a bit there. I'll try that again. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a circle which should have 2 chain and 8 double crochets in it. So now we need to do the next one. Next round. So round 2, I want you to chain 2 again, and it also doesn't class as a stitch. And the same place where that chain 2 is coming from, you can see the little hole there. That is where we're going to work our first stitch, and we're going to do another 8. So 1 double crochet in each stitch around. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last one is 8. And then I just want to make sure, because it's going to turn in that way, you always want to flip it so that you've got the side that's facing you needs to be outside. There, that's your right side. And then you're going to join to the top of the original double crochet that we started with. So we've got 2 rounds there. Round 3, we do exactly the same again. So chain 2, and then we've got 1, 2, so a double crochet in each stitch around, so that's 3. Oops. 4, 5, 7, and lastly 8. And again, we're going to just join to the top of the very first double crochet stitch that we did. Okay, so as you can see, we've got something that is now looking very much like Foxglove, and now we've just got to do this sort of textured end here. So for this bit, we're going to work 2 stitches into each stitch around. So we've got 8 stitches, so we're going to end up with 16, but the stitches that we work into each one are slightly different, but it does end up being a bit of a pattern. So first of all, so in each stitch we're going to do a single crochet and a double crochet, which they're the US terms. In the UK, that's a double crochet and a treble crochet. So using the US terms, chain 1, and in that very same stitch where your chain is coming from, there where you did your slip stitch, I want you to make a single crochet, and in the same stitch again a double crochet. So this is where it gives us that wavy edge. Then in the next stitch we're going to start with a double crochet and then put a single crochet next to it in the same stitch. So over 2 stitches we've got a single, a double, and then the next stitch a double and then a single. So it gives it that sort of wavy line. So we finished that one with a single. So on our 3rd stitch we go in with a single and then put a double in the same space. Next stitch is in a double and then a single, double and then a single. So we're halfway around now. Okay, then we've got in the 5th stitch a single, then a double, and then in the next one we've got a double and then a single, and then the final sort of pair of stitches, single, double, and then double, and then single. And then what you do is you find the top of the single crochet that you started with, which is here, and put a slip stitch there to join, and that is the largest foxglove flower complete. So cut the yarn, leaving enough tail end on there to, because we need to work with that and sew it in and things like that. Okay, so for each flower you will need to sew this end in just into the inside, and then for this part, which is where you started from, the magic circle, which is deep inside, that will either need to be pulled or sewn through. So we'll need that later for the assembly on the other side. So do not sew this bit in, pull it through to the outside, and we will use that later to secure it onto the stem of the foxglove. But this one here, that can be sewn in. Okay, so we're going to now do the medium sized flower, which, as you can see, if you compare them together, it's actually exactly the same, apart from we've got a magic circle with 8 double crochets, and then 8 double crochets, then 8 double crochets, and here there's only a magic circle with 8, and then there's just one more row of 8. So it's exactly the same. The top is done in the same way, the wavy edge. There's just one row fewer, but I will work through that with you anyway. So this is our medium sized flower. Again, we're going to start with a magic circle, or if you want to chain 4 and join, you can. Chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. So I'm going to work double crochets. A reminder that in the UK that they are the treble crochets. So 1, 2, we're doing 8 again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Pull it tight if you've done a magic circle, and then join to the top of with a slip stitch of the first double crochet that you did. Okay, chain 2, and then it's 8 double crochets around again, starting from that same place where you chained. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and just again like we did before, because it wants to go that way, I need you to just turn it so it's right side out, then join to the top of that double crochet that you did. And now we're going to do the wavy edge again. So chain 1 into the same space where the chain comes from. We're going to do a single crochet and then a double. And then in the next stitch we do a double and then a single. Give us a nice wavy petal edge. Then in stitch 3 it's a single then a double. And in stitch 4 it's a double and a single. And we keep going round like that with those pairs of stitches until you've got completed them all, and you should have then 5 sort of wavy edges, sorry, 4 wavy edges around the edge of your flower. Got the last one now, and it's finishing off with a double and then a single, and then I'm just going to join with a slip stitch to the single crochet that I started with. There we go. Trim the yarn, and you're going to do the same with regards to the tail ends with this one as you did with the larger flower. So this end here at the top, that one can be sewn in. Out of the way. That one here can be sewn in. Then this one that is coming from the middle of your foxglove flower there, that needs to be pulled through so that it's ready for when we assemble and actually make the foxgloves look like they should do. Okay, so we've got the medium one there, and you can see the difference in size with the larger as well. So I would say you want to do about 8 of each of these, but again it is entirely up to you. And the next part is we're just going to have these the smaller ones now. I'm just going to go through that. It's really quick and simple, this really easy, and they're just like little buds. They're still open slightly because if you see foxgloves, the ones at the very top, because they go from they kind of go from these unopened buds, then you have the sort of medium-sized ones underneath, and then you have the large ones underneath that going down the stem if you look at photographs of them. So we're going to make this small flower now. Again, really simple, this one. I start with a magic circle or a chain 4 and join again, and another chain 2 to start with. Move that out of the way slightly now. Then we're going to, this time, instead of 8 double crochets, we're going to do 6 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, I'm going to pull if you've done a magic circle, and then you're going to join to the top of the first double crochet that you did. Again, just making sure that you flip it so that the outside, the right side is facing outwards. Then all we need to do now is chain 2, doesn't count as a stitch again, and in the same space where that came from, we're going to do a double crochet, and we're going to do a double crochet in each stitch around, so there's 6 in total. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, happens to it all, 5, and then there's 1 more to go, and 6. If you find this tricky to find the beginning and the end of the rounds, just use a stitch marker, and then into the top there of the very first double crochet, do a little slip stitch, and that's all that one is, a little bud. So you need to do exactly the same with it as you've done again with the other. So you need to sew this part in, and you need to pull this through. Okay, right, So there you have it. So make some of those. I would say about 8. Depends though how many you want to do. Right, so we've done those. Now we need to do the leaves that go underneath our flowers. So as you can see, foxgloves generally will have these, they're mounted in like a trio of flowers, of leaves. So that's what we're going to do now. So they look like this. And there's one for the larger flower and one for the medium, but they're exactly the same apart from you just use one stitch fewer, that's all. So once again, we're going to start with our magic circle or a chain 4 and join. And this time we're just going to chain 1 and we're going to do some single crochets, which are in the US, or double crochets in the UK. We're going to just make 6 single crochets into your circle. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and if you've done a magic circle, when you pull it tight, don't pull it so it's fully closed. You do want to leave a little hole there, just so that you can thread the wire through, and also so that it sits nicely at the bottom of the petal, the flower petals. So we're going to join with a slip stitch to the top of the very first single crochet, and then we're going to work 3 lots. So these are all done, these 3 lots of I'll show you a bit closer there. 3 lots of leaves are all done in the same way. So it's a chain, and then we work back along the chain and secure it into the stitches around the circle, and they're all done in the same way. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chain. Okay, this is for the larger flower. Then in the second chain from the hook, we're going to work a single crochet. In the next chain, we're going to do a half double crochet, which is a half treble in the UK. In the final 3 chains that you've got left before you reach the circle, you're going to put a double crochet. And then you're going to move to the next stitch. You're not going to secure it in the same stitch where you started. You're going to move to the next one, and you're just going to put a slip stitch into that next stitch there to secure it there. You see you've got a nice flower there. Then slip stitch, move to the next stitch along and do a slip stitch in there, and then from there you're going to do another chain 6 and do exactly the same again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the second chain from the hook, it's a single crochet. The next chain, it's a half double, and then in the final 3 chains, it's a double crochet. 1, 2 and 3. And then again, not into the same space where the chain came from, but the next stitch, I want you to do a slip stitch into there to secure. And we've got 2 of our 3 leaves done. And then slip stitch in the next stitch, and then begin another chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then second chain from the hook is a single crochet. Then a half double. And then we've got 3 more doubles. So when you're doing the medium leaves for the medium sized flower, they're exactly the same as this. You start with 6 single crochets into a circle, but when you're doing your chain, you do 5 chain instead of 6, and then you just secure that into the next one. So you would do 5 chain instead of 6, and instead of doing 3 double crochets in the chain at the bottom of the chain, you do 2. So you do a single crochet, a half double, and 2 double crochets for the medium flower. So there we have. Cut that one off. So you're going to need to sew in this bit at the side here. So darn that one in and leave. Don't leave the one that's coming from the circle in the middle. Leave that one. Okay. because we're going to use that when we to secure the flower in the construction and the assembly of the stem. Okay, so that's how you do the leaves. Just remember that it's 6 chain for a large one, and this is the medium one, and then for the medium one, see it's slightly smaller, it's 5 chain, and then you work down the chain with a single crochet, a half double crochet, and either two or 3 doubles, depending on whether you're doing the medium or the large. Okay, so the final thing, or the final component to this before we can assemble, is the leaf. So there are some sort of standalone leaves as well as the ones that are around the flowers if you look at photos of a foxglove. So we just want to intersperse these in just to give it a little bit of extra detail as well, and draw the eye to different places of your foxglove. So this chain, this is worked with a chain, and we work back down the chain. So we work sort of down the chain, and we get to the bottom, and we work several stitches into that very last chain, which helps us turn the corner, and then we work back up the other side of the chain. Okay, so that's how this works. I'm going to start off, slip knot on your hook this time because we're working a chain, and we're going to chain 12. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Starting from the second chain from the hook, you're going to put a slip stitch in the next 2 chains. So 1 in there, and then a slip stitch in there. In the next 2 chains, we're going to do a single crochet in each. 1. Okay, so we're keeping it narrow, and we sort of widen it as we move down. Then we're going to put a half double crochet into the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do a double crochet into the next 3, which should bring us to the last one. 1, 2, so 3 doubles into there, and then we've got 1 chain left, and in this last chain, this is where we're going to place 4 double crochets, and by doing that we should turn the corner. So we've got 1 all into that same chain, 2, 3, and then we see we've moved. So we're now going to work back up this side of the chain. Hopefully you can see that there are other, so you've got the chains on the other side, those loops there, they will form where you're going to put your hook now. So we're basically going to mirror what we just did on the other side. So we're going to do 3 doubles in, so starting from the next chain. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 3 half doubles. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 2 singles and 2 slip stitches. So 1, 2, and then in the last 2 little slip stitches. 1, and then in the very last one, final slip stitch. There we go. And then you just trim it and fasten off. So what you can do now is you can sew in this tail and leave this one there like I've done on that one. So this tail can go and this one needs to stay so that we can use it to secure. So these are all the components that you need for your foxglove that you need to make, and the rest of it comes from the assembly. So I will meet you, I'll give you a chance to make everything that you need. If you pause it here and come back when you've got all the different components made, and then I'll show you how to assemble. Okay, so hopefully you've got all your components crocheted and made up, ready to start assembling. I'm just going to talk you through how to assemble each of the flowers, and then you can pause it and go away and do that, and then come back for the final assembly of it on the stem. So for the very small buds, we're going to start for the small flower. You're going to need some floristry tape, which is very sticky double-sided tape with a bit of flexibility to it, and you're going to need some floristry wire as well. So for this small bud, I've done this, it's probably about 2.5 to 3 inches long, which is about 5-6 centimeters. First of all, I want you to just bend the top over so that we can catch it in, and have a little sort of hook like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this hook catch in the flower. So what we do is, once you've bent that over, pass it through the middle so it comes out at the bottom, and carefully feed that through. And what you want is for that hooked bit to come out on a different part of the flower at the bottom so it doesn't pull through. So you can see now, it doesn't matter how much I pull that, it's not going to come off. Then you want to squish it down like that. And then this is when we use the floristry tape to secure everything. So first of all, we need to cut the tail end so it's much shorter. You only want it sort of 1 inch, sort of a couple of centimeters long like that. And then we get our floristry. As you can see, the floristry tape has been wrapped all the way around this, and it catches in the tail end, which secures the flower to the wire. So getting it started can be a bit tricky and making it all stick. So start right at the top, making sure you're feeding it over the top of the tail end here, and then you just want to sort of twist it, tightening it up, because it's a strange sort of tape and it does need a little bit of pressure to grasp the or stick to itself, basically, like that. Give it a little, and then it should just easily rip. So give it then a little squizzle, and there, that's really simple for that one, and it's nice and secure, and it's a bit wobbly at the top, but it doesn't matter because that's how the flowers are anyway. So, and then because how we're gonna put them onto our stem, you just want to then bend it over like that. This one I need to do the same, bend it, ready. Okay, so they are now ready to go on the top of the stem, and I'll show you how to do the other sort of flowers. So both the large and the medium flowers are done in exactly the same way, so I'm going to show you exactly how I've done that. So it's very similar to what we've just done now, except there's an extra step to it. So first of all, you need a piece of wire that is approximately 4 inches, I would say. It's probably 10 centimeters long. So it's this floristry wire. Again, like we did before, you want to bend it over to make a hook. Then get one of your flowers. I'm going to do this with a large one. This one, for the example here, is a medium, but it's exactly the same process for both. Then you're going to put it through the middle, like we did with the small one, and hopefully pull it through, and where that hook comes through should be in a different way to catch it on. It comes out in a different part there of the flower. So once you've done that, squash the wire down to try and close that off a bit. There we go. So that's the first part. Now we need to put the flowers on there as well. Sorry, the leaves on there as well. So we've got our leaves here. Now we have to thread the tail end of the flower through the magic circle in the middle of the leaves. So put the thread onto your darning needle, and then put it through the hole in the centre of the leaves. So once you've done that, then thread the centre also onto the wire. So you've got this coming through, and that'll help when we wrap it with the floristry tape. It'll help it all be secure. So you can take the darning needle off now. make sure you've pulled that all the way up to the top so that it's flush against the flower. Then we're going to cut again to about 1 inch long your tail ends. Okay, and grab that all together, and again, just like the other one, this is a little bit tricky. Okay, so then we start to twist, so making sure that those tail ends are caught into the tape, and then twist it round. I've gone off the shot there. There we are, until it's all covered up, and give it a nice. So then it needs to bend forward like that. Now, foxgloves often have like a speckled inside, and it does depend what colour scheme you're going for with this. But I've got some acrylic paint pens here, which you can use a paintbrush as well, but I find these really quick and simple. I'm just going to dab. I've got just white for this colour. But you could do any colour, and sometimes you have like white ones that have got a little like smidge of black in them, or 2 colours, but that, just put that little bit of paint in, so as you can see, just makes it, gives it that speckled look inside the foxglove flower. So like I say, the large, so there you've got a large one there, and a medium one, and there's our small one there. And then I'm going to show you how to put them onto your stem. Pause it here, get them all ready to this point, and have your leaves ready with your just the one tail end left, the one at the bottom, and then I'll show you how to mount them onto your stem. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how to put all this together into one stem of a foxglove flower. So I've already put some of the small buds on here, and I've done a leaf, but I will show you how to do that further down as well. So I've put what have I got on here? 2, 3. I've got 6 of the 8 little buds ready to go on this one. So I'm going to show you now how to put the next one. So what I've done is I've started wrapping the tape around the stem before I had anything on it, and I'm catching these in as I go in the position where I want them. So I would like to put that one there. So I am wrapping my floristry tape around, getting these in the position. So we have our small ones at the top, and then I'm going to put another leaf on this side. So you just basically hold the wire in, you catch it round, and you keep winding it round, and you end up with quite a thick stem, but they do have a thick stem anyway. So with the leaf, it's important, as you can see, I've got this tail end coming down here, and that's because I am putting the tape over the tail end of the leaf as well. It doesn't have to be quite that long, I will trim it, but it's so that it catches in. Now, when I'm doing this, you have to have the top of the leaf facing upwards. Put it there against. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the tape just over the very bottom of the leaf, not just the tail end, because I just want it to sit more upright rather than flop over to the side, and that will secure it more. And yeah, don't worry if your tape breaks, it's really, really fragile, the tape, so it will do, but it's fine because it just sticks back on again. So I've secured that a few times with the tape, and now I'm going to start putting some of my medium sized flowers on. I'm going to sort of graduate to this, and so all we do is all the way down, going up slightly there. Can get a bit tricky and fiddly, but this is for me the fun part where it all comes together. Oh, the there we go. So we're wrapping it round. I was just going to say, oh, I've put some paint in these, and I remembered I have actually already told you that. Losing the plot. So give it a little twirl. I'm going to put one at the back here. Okay, not forgetting that it will be all the way around, as you can see, starting to take shape. So what you'll do is literally as you go down, just wrap them with the floristry, going from small to medium to large, and interspersing these leaves in with it as well. And hopefully you'll end up with something that looks like this. This is what we are aiming for. Obviously, how many flowers you have is entirely up to you. You can go all the way down the stem if you want, but you should have the gist of it now. And the beauty of them being on wire that can move is that you can adjust them to be where you want them to be. So there we have it. This has been a Freddie Loves Crochet tutorial for a foxglove flower. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button and leave me some comments underneath of how you've got on. See you soon. Bye now.